Hello. You know that feeling of pride when your newly built catapult leaves the lab and immediately helps defend a teammate's base? It's great, but sometimes you just have to let your teammate have his moment. You can achieve that by changing the default state preferences, but to do so, you have to learn about custom keybinds first. Here are the steps to set them up. When in a match, go to Settings, Control, and under Keybind preset, choose Custom. Now close the game and start the launcher again. Click the button Open Install Directory. Look for the UI keys text file and open it in a text editor of your choice. This is where your keybinds are. You can find the actions you want to rebind, change the key, and save the file. For example, to rebind attack to Ctrl B, you would search for an attack and replace the current bind with Ctrl plus SC-B. When you start the game again, the key will be changed. You can also type /key reload in chat to reload them without restarting the game. So, going back to this catapult thing, you need to bind state prefs record. I have it bound to Control. The way it works is when you hold the button and change the toggle on the unit, it will remember what you set, and from now on it will be a default setting for this particular unit type. So you can change your catapults to hold fire to make sure they won't start shooting the moment they leave the lab. I also use it to have my grunts on maneuver by default and so on. If you are on topic of custom keybinds, you might also want to bind the quicksharetotarget action, which allows you to share selected units without using the buttons on the player list. Much more handy. There is more to custom keybinds though, so let's dive into advanced territory. You may be aware that there are keys to select all units on the screen or to split current selection in half. What's important is that these aren't hard-coded actions. They are using select statements which are highly customizable and powerful. Let's take a look at them. As you can see, they are pretty complex, but you can break them down in three parts, which are separated with plus sign. Source, so which units to choose from. Filter, which narrows down the list of the units. And conclusion, which decides what to do with the results. So, if we take a look at the queue bind, it takes all visible units on the screen, then it keeps only the types which you have had selected, then it replaces your current selection with the result. If there was no clear selection in the conclusion part, it would append to the current selection instead of replacing it. You can find all possible options in the official documentation, which I will link in the description. But if you are wondering what are possible uses of this apart from the default ones, here is what I have. My group keys select only units visible on the screen. It makes microing easier, especially if I want to put my units in line. If I want to select across the map, I just double tap it. I also have a key which selects low HP units from current selection. Very handy to retreat damaged units for repairs. Another one selects a constructor close to the mouse. I use it when I can't find a constructor which is hiding somewhere in my base, especially handy for air cons. As you can see, there are a lot of options with the select commands. Make sure to experiment with them to see how they can help you. But there is more to the keybinds. I mentioned that I double tap the key to select my units across the map. You can bind something to double clicks or even triple and more by listing the keys after the comma. You can even bind key combinations like this, but personally I never use that. Another feature is binding multiple actions to the same key. You can use the chain prefix for that. The actions will fire one after another. If you use chain force, it should always trigger all actions. Currently, I am experimenting with using it to ungroup my damaged units. Other than that, I didn't think of an obvious use case for action chains. Alright, that's enough for this video. As you can see, the keybind options in Beyond the Horizon are quite powerful, so while it's not so handy to set them up, it's just worth it. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.